Okay, I'm back from having my shrimp and a martini. It went down really good. So we're in Florida now, on Biscayne Boulevard in Miami, and we would kill some time by my con artist friend would call the people that were advertising in the papers to sell their boat, anything at all, and we would end up going out for the day with them just to see what it was like and get fed and drink and the whole bit. And we did things like this constantly, all different angles he came up with. I was all set to get myself a job in a swanky resort as a busboy, starting off and then probably becoming a waiter. But even as a busboy, it was really good money. What spoiled that was a phone call that I got from Jimmy Scanlon, and he was still back in Albany, Georgia, and he said that there was a problem with the girl Carolyn, and it had something to do with, she told me she was 19, and it turns out that she was only 17, and she had come from North Carolina to Albany, Georgia, and it could be a serious thing. So I got my ass back there. I took care of everything. Luckily, I was able to. And Jimmy did it. He followed my game plan, and he got out of the Air Force the same way. So we had plans that we were going to go to his home in Binghamton, New York. He was going to get some money together, and then we were going to go out and start a new life in California and see what was happening. I always wanted to go to California. Carolyn talked us into, she wanted to come back with me, and I didn't want to have any part of it. Found out she had been with a lot of guys. She was a bullshitter. She was a cheat. Everything under the sun. But anyway, she talked us into bringing her on the bus with us and dropping her off in South Carolina or North Carolina, wherever it is that she lived. And supposedly to get me jealous of play a game, she played up to Jimmy on the bus, created a relationship. He kind of fell for it. And well, anyway, so we dropped her off, and now something I didn't realize, the bus would be going to Port Authority in Manhattan. I didn't even know we would be going, and it was near the city. So an idea hit me. Maybe I should stop off and see my mother. I may never see her again. I really don't know. I asked the bus driver, because it was a stopover for 2 hours. I said, can I take a bus later on? He goes, you can take any bus you want after that. There's no time factor on the ticket. So we weren't really dressed, not realizing here we were coming from an area that wasn't that cold, and in New York it was really cold. So we're almost dressed like for spring, but it was freezing out. We get off the F train right by Avenue M. The bowling alley is going. This was a Friday night. And I go in, and I felt kind of good. You know, everybody's welcoming me, this, that, the other thing. So I told Jimmy to stay there, and I would just be going to my parents' house to see them. Then I'd come back, and we'd go back to Port Authority and go back up to Binghamton. Well, anyway, when I got to my house, it just so happened that my grandmother who lived with us was downstairs. I'm knocking on the window like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm freezing outside. She sees me, she's all surprised. She goes up, she gets my mother. My mother comes down, and the hugging and the tears. And then one thing surprised me, my father comes walking down. And he says, I really don't like what happened between high school and now the Air Force. He said, but hey, look, you're my son, and I forgive you. I just wish you'd straighten out your life. And I told him what my plans were. He said, look, why don't you stick around for a couple of days anyway? And I said, well, I got Jimmy with me. He said, no problem, he can stay here. Stay at the house wasn't really that big. But I fell for the whole thing. And I got back involved with bowling. I met a girl. Carolyn came down a few weeks later. She followed us there. And that was a whole scene within itself. I brushed her off, but she actually came to my house also. She found out where I lived. She met my sister. I wasn't home at the time, and telling them that she had been pregnant or something like this. Well, this actually happened a year later. It wasn't right then and there at the beginning, but the pregnant thing came a full year later. but she tried to play a game and she ended up going to Binghamton with Jimmy. And wow, what he went through. Okay, let's end it for now.